So before we jump in, let me welcome you to the Deep Penetration Podcast. My name is Danny, and I am a self-esteem and love coach that works with gay and bisexual men. Please make sure you are subscribing to the podcast and my other platforms if you want to hear more content like this episode. I will provide all the information for you in the description of the episode, including information for a free gift that you are not going to want to miss out on. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into it. So obviously by the title of the video, we are talking about, right here, I have it on my computer, is monogamy dead, right? Is the future of gay relationships, same-sex relationships, open relationships? I feel like monogamy is one of the hot button topics for people within the LGBTQ plus community, particularly because a lot of gay men choose to be in open relationships. And the biggest issue I find is the conversation around relationship types or structures and which one is correct, right? Monogamy is a concept that's usually discussed in the context of heterosexual relationships, but it's equally relevant for those of us who identify as gay or bisexual. Let me put it plainly, right? Both are great because both of them can work. Relationships are inherently subjective, and therefore the structure of any relationship is decided by the individuals involved in that relationship. So if you have two consenting adults that want to be in an open relationship, that can work beautifully because both people are on the same page. The same goes for a monogamous relationship. The real issue is compatibility and being real with yourself. And let me explain what I mean by that. When I work with men who are wanting to find a healthy, sustainable, long-term relationship, I will usually ask, what are your values and what relationship structure feels the most aligned with that value system, right? See, the thing is, a lot of men will try to be monogamous or open because it's what they should want based on ideals rooted in either the heterosexual community or in the LGBTQ plus community. And if you are someone who relates to that, let me ask you this. Is that a belief you have come to form on your own, or was it influenced by something or someone else, right? So when I say that, I mean like religious beliefs, culture, family dynamics, a previous relationship, or a partner. But let me be clear. Our belief systems come from the role models in our lives growing up, and therefore forming your own beliefs can be difficult or can be a difficult journey sometimes. And that's not to say that religion, culture, or family dynamics are wholly bad and should be dismantled and destroyed and unpacked. No, for some, it's your compass, right? And personally, I respect that. I don't see anything wrong with that. What I mean is, have you taken inventory of those beliefs and reevaluated them now as an adult? Which ones still align with who you are as a person and which ones don't? In order to date intentionally and find a partner who is compatible with your core values, evaluating those values is necessary. So if for you, you have come to realize you truly don't believe in monogamy, then own it. Right? There is no reason to shame yourself into a relationship structure that is misaligned with your authentic self, because at that point, you're perpetuating that shame complex. If you are someone who is wanting a monogamous relationship, I'm going to break down for you what a monogamous relationship is, the common challenges and misconceptions, and what you will need in order to succeed in a monogamous relationship. So let's start by understanding monogamy. To begin, let's talk about what monogamy actually means in the context of your relationships. At its core, monogamy is about committing to one partner and maintaining exclusivity in an emotional, physical, and sexual intimacy sense, right? Doesn't mean that it's easy, especially in a world where non-monogamous relationships are increasingly common and expected. But once again, monogamy is a choice. And as with any choice, it takes a level of discipline to make it work. right? Everyone finds value in different things. So, for example, I find value in building and developing a strong relationship with my partner. Why? Because for me, the ability to trust openly and freely in a romantic relationship is linked to its level of exclusivity. I value the effort that goes into growing a closed relationship. And I will be honest and say, I don't like to share my romantic partners. I'm kind of selfish in that way. So I absolutely respect anyone that enjoys those relationship dynamics because, as I said, everyone has a different value system. But let me be clear about something. That does not mean that a open relationship or a polyamorous relationship is not a choice. It is. That does not mean that that relationship doesn't take work, because it does. That does not mean that there is not a level of commitment that is required in order to make that relationship work, because there is. It's just the execution of those things may look a little differently. Right. And again, like I said, at its roots, a monogamous relationship is choosing and committing and being exclusive to one specific person. So what are some of the challenges in the common misconceptions, right? One of the challenges many gay and bisexual men face in pursuing monogamy is the misconception that it's unrealistic or unnatural for us. Society often perpetuates the idea that same-sex relationships are inherently non-monogamous. But the truth is, every individual and couple is different. It's important to challenge these stereotypes and recognize that monogamy is a valid choice for anyone, regardless of your sexual orientation. And here are some of the most common misconceptions about monogamy, right? So number one, monogamy is not achievable for gay men. One of the most pervasive misconceptions is the belief that monogamy is not feasible or realistic for gay or bisexual men. And this misconception often arises from stereotypes portraying gay men as inherently promiscuous or unable to maintain long-term committed relationships. And in reality, many gay men desire and practice monogamy, just like individuals of any sexual orientation. And in fact, a majority of the gay men that I have worked with want a monogamous relationship. But that brings it back to what I said before. Truly understanding whether you want and value a monogamous relationship, or you feel like that is what you should want and value based on societal pressures and structures and those kinds of things. The second thing here is gay relationships are inherently non-monogamous. Another misconception is that monogamy is not the norm in gay relationships and that non-monogamy is more common or accepted. And, while it is true that some gay men may choose a non-monogamous relationship structure, like an open relationships or a polyamorous relationship, many others prefer to prioritize monogamy. The third thing here is monogamy is boring or restrictive. Some people mistakenly believe that monogamy is dull or stifling, particularly in the context of gay relationships, right? Where sexual liberation and exploration is often what's celebrated, but monogamy does not inherently equate to boredom or restriction. Healthy monogamous relationships can be fulfilling and passionate and dynamic and offer emotional intimacy and security. The fourth thing here is that gay men are likely to cheat, or bisexual men are likely to cheat. Such a harmful stereotype that suggests that gay men are more inclined to cheat on their partners compared to heterosexual individuals. And this misconception perpetuates the false notion that gay men are inherently unfaithful or incapable of commitment. And in reality, infidelity can occur in any relationship, regardless of your sexual orientation, and it is not exclusive to gay men. Now, do gay men have a tendency of being portrayed as more promiscuous or, more sexually free and all of those things? The answer is yes, if we're being 100% honest with ourselves, right? You just watch a pride parade and there's, a bunch of half-naked dudes walking around and filling up on each other and all of that stuff. And look, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that to speak poorly about pride parades, because I think that in many ways, they are necessary and they allow us to express ourselves and be free and embrace who we are and show society that, we exist and that we're here and that we're proud and that we embrace and love ourselves. But if you really take a step back and you look at it, for example, some of the most celebrated idols within the gay community are porn stars. A lot of the magazines that we have prioritize nudity and sex and all these different things. A lot of the influencers out there within the gay community talk a lot about sex and their sexual escapades and all of those things. And again, it's not to say that any of those things are bad, because no, I think everybody has a right to express themselves and, be authentic. And if that's what they enjoy, that's what they enjoy. If that's what you enjoy, that's what you enjoy. But I think the reason for why there's that common misconception is because to a certain degree, we also perpetuate that within the community ourselves. The fifth thing is monogamy is a heteronormative construct. Oh boy. Some critics argue that monogamy, like I said, is a social construct that has been imposed by heteronormative ideals, and that it does not align with the diverse experience and relationships within the LGBTQ plus community. And while it is true that societal norms and expectations have historically favored monogamous heterosexual relationships, many gay men actively choose and embrace monogamy as a valid relationship model that aligns with their values and their desires. Was monogamy was monogamy pushed by certain religious organizations and all of those things? Yes. But if we're talking about monogamy in the sense of a historical context, it's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it has not just been pushed by the Catholic Church or Christian sects or religions or whatever like that. Sex as not S-E-X, S-E-C-T-S. But I digress from that topic. It's just something that I wanted to bring up because it's something that is talked about and discussed frequently. The sixth thing here is open relationships are the only alternative to monogamy. Another misconception here, right? While open relationships can be a valid choice for some couples, they are not the only alternative to monogamy. Gay men, like individuals of any sexual orientation, have diverse relationship preferences, and many choose various relationship structures that best suit their needs and their values. So, what do you need to succeed, right? I think the underlying how do I put this? I think the undercurrent, the foundation, the fundamentals of any healthy relationship are pretty much going to be the same across the board, whether it's a heterosexual relationship or a same-sex relationship. Now, the application of those things may look different, but when we're talking about what you need to have a healthy relationship, it boils down to the core fundamentals, which is open communication, right? Effective communication is crucial for any relationship and is especially important in a monogamous one. So you should feel comfortable discussing your feelings, your needs, your desires, your concerns with your partner openly and honestly. This includes conversations about boundaries, right? Any challenges that you are currently facing and conflict that you have to kind of get over together. The second thing is trust. Building and maintaining trust is essential for any successful relationship, whether it be monogamous, open, polyamorous, doesn't matter, right? Trust is very, very important. You need to trust that your partner is committed to the relationship and faithful to you or faithful to the agreement that you have in regards to the structure of your relationship. And what's the best way that you can build trust? It's through honesty. It's through reliability. It's through consistent behavior. The third thing here is respect for boundaries. Right? So establishing and respecting boundaries is fundamental in any relationship, especially in a monogamous relationship. In fact, it's necessary. You should communicate your boundaries clearly and respect your partner's boundaries as well. It's not just about you. It's about what your partner needs as well. This includes boundaries about personal space, about your time, about activities and interactions with other people. So respecting those boundaries is going to help you to grow mutual respect for one another. It's going to help you to connect on a more intimate level because you feel like you can be more intimate with your partner and vulnerable because you trust them. Emotional connection, right? Developing and nurturing and emotional connection is what helps a monogamous relationship to thrive. And I highly recommend prioritizing emotional intimacy, vulnerability, understanding your partner. And how do you do this? Through sharing your feelings, your thoughts, experiences, as well as providing support and validation and empathy for one another. You know, that creates a how do I put this? That creates a partnership, right? Simply put, it creates a partnership. Specifically for a monogamous relationship, there's the conversation of fidelity and commitment, right? So fidelity and commitment are at the core of a monogamous relationship. So you need to be committed to each other's well-being and the health of the relationship. And this includes remaining sexually exclusive and faithful to each other, as well as prioritizing the relationships over external temptations and distractions and all of those things. Now, again, I want to be very clear here. Fidelity is more so specific to monogamous relationship. Commitment is not. Commitment is an important key to it, but there is also commitment in open relationships and polyamorous relationships. The sixth thing here is just shared values and goals, right? Aligning on those values, those goals, what you want to prioritize long-term in regards to your individual goals, goals as a partnership, goals within the relationship. You should have similar outlooks in life. They don't have to be exactly the same, because I think obviously having some differences of opinions and thoughts and all of those things create a healthy dynamic within a relationship, because it challenges you and it helps you to grow. But generally speaking, you should want to move together towards a common goal. Quality time together, right? So spending that time together in order to maintain the connection and that intimacy is going to be very, very important. Sharing in activities, taking those little moments to just kind of connect with your partner, right? So that can literally be you watching Netflix on a Sunday, cuddling up on the couch. If you haven't done that, do that with your partner, right? Reconnect in that way, because that's going to be very, very important. Life is going to keep coming at you. It's not going to stop. So carving out that time for each other is going to be very, very important. The last one here is conflict resolution. So being able to work through issues and problems together, knowing that you are wanting to resolve these things because you care for one another and you want to protect what you have, and that being the relationship, right? There are many, many, many other things that contribute to a healthy monogamous relationship. There are many things that contribute to a healthy open relationship. But the purpose of this episode was to kind of dispel or unpack the common misconceptions when it comes to monogamous relationships. They're not dead, right? In fact, I actually just ran a poll on YouTube not too long ago, and of the over 100 people that voted on it, over 80% of guys wanted a monogamous relationship. So it's not dead. Is it more difficult to find? Sure, but I think it's because a lot of people are afraid of committing in that way. It does not necessarily mean that they can't. I think a part of it is also education. We have not been taught how to navigate a monogamous relationship in a healthy way. That being said, I think there's also the underlying, do you actually want a monogamous relationship? And that's something that you have to sit down and think about and really unpack for yourself. And if you need help with that, if you need support, I'm more than happy to help you with that. If you are wanting to find a monogamous relationship, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation about it. All my relationships have been monogamous, but that's just my preference, right? That does not necessarily mean that it's the right or the wrong way of doing things. You have to do and choose things that feel right to you. I hope you found this episode to be helpful. And again, make sure you are subscribing and liking the video if you related to it. And even if you didn't, make sure you smash the like button. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.